Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today, we're going to be going over the new unique item for the Reign of the Warlock. The Reign of the Warlock. It's called the Bloodpact Shard. It's really quite interesting. It seems to be a caster weapon, almost specifically. It has +1 to skills on it, and it is a Mithril point as well, which is an interesting base. Mithril point is the elite Dirk, I believe. I think that's what it is, Dirk. Doesn't really have very high requirements, only 49 dex and 28 strength. But of course, I am also using the levitation mastery, which is kind of crazy. I probably should unspec that. I believe it's 98 dex base. Yeah, 98 dex base. And I don't see the strength on here. But basically, it's just going to be the base of the Mithril point, which shouldn't be too terrible. The dexterity requirement, though, on casters a lot of the times trips them up, though. Like Wizard Spike has a high dex requirement, and people don't normally have the dex requirement to use it. So you're like, hey, Sorceress, you want this 50% faster cast? Obviously a caster weapon, dagger. And they're like, sure. And then they look at it, and it has a high dex requirement, and they don't have enough dex to use it, and then they frown face. It does have +1 to all skills, which isn't the most amazing because there's a lot of items that have like 2 or 3 or 4. Or like honestly, the freaking Warlock can like one hand the Mang songs for like +5. So there's that. It's 30% faster cast, which is mediocre. I mean, you could have 35% for a spirit, or you could have like 45%, I think, for an obsession or something like that. I mean, there's a couple different options out there that are a little bit higher. It does have some random skills, so these do roll between 2 to 3 or 1 to 3, depending on the skill. The Blind Demon rolls 1 to 3. The Blood Boil rolls 2 to 3, and the Blood Oath rolls 2 to 3. Now, the Blind Demon's kind of interesting because you could potentially use that to use the Consume, which I just did a video on. You might want to check that out. And you could be eating super uniques, which give you some pretty interesting buffs. As far as the Blood Boil and the Blood Oath, they seem to be designed around sort of kind of like a pseudo Corpse Explosion. It's not really the same thing. Like Corpse Explosion requires you to pop a corpse, which then blows up. Blood Boil eats some of the HP of the monster and then uses the blood to explode on the target. And then Blood Oath heals them to kind of like restore their HP by eating a corpse to heal them. So it's kind of like an odd version of Corpse Explosion. It's nowhere near as powerful as Corpse Explosion, but it's interesting. We also have Slows Target 25%. I'm not exactly sure how that works with this item because I was pretty sure that Slows Target requires you to actually hit the target to actually cause that to occur. So I'm not really sure if a caster would actually get the benefit of that, but I mean, that'd be interesting to find out. It generally slows down monsters by the percentage rated up to like a maximum. I think it's like 75% or something maximum. And it's a decent little mod. It also has a pretty massive, I mean, that's a chunky boy, massive 13% maximum life, which is pretty cool, which could potentially get you a lot more defensiveness. And apparently the maximum life rolls between 10 to 15%, which means you can get a 15%er here. And that's a lot of life, 15% maximum life. The Magic Find also rolls. So the Magic Find rolls between 20 to 35%. So if you did find like a 15% maximum life, 35% Magic Find, put an Ist rune in it, for instance, for another 30%, you would be looking at 65% Magic Find, 15% maximum life with 30% faster cast and +1 all skills. It's not exactly a awful dagger. It could be really useful for a Blood Boil build, and it also has the Magic Find to kind of like back up being an actual useful dagger, like for the Warlock. For non-Warlocks, like if you're not a Warlock and you look at this item, I guess technically it's still halfway decent as a early caster item if you just don't have anything better, but it would have a hard time competing with Spirit. Spirit doesn't give you any resistances on the weapon side, so it's not like you lose anything there. Technically, 30% faster cast is better than a badly rolled Spirit. But of course, Spirit Sword has +2 skills, and this has +1. So it's kind of an odd combination. Spirit Sword does not have any Magic Find, though. So, I mean, if I were to find this early on a Sorceress, I could probably see myself using this as an early Magic Find item, like if I didn't have a Gull Dagger or an Alibaba around. And even if I did have a Gull Dagger or an Alibaba around, technically, This actually has plus skills and faster cast, which is going to be more useful than the Blade of Alibaba or the Gold Dagger anyway, even though it would have a little bit less magic find. It's interesting. It's an interesting item. I'm not exactly sure how useful it's going to be or whether it's actually going to be a like valuable item at all. Um, but I would imagine late game, as long as it's not like a 3-3-3, you'd probably be able to pick these up really cheap for probably like Co's or Lems or something like that. That would be my guess. Um, that's pretty much it. Um, as always, I'd appreciate you guys and gals watching. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe button if you're enjoying the content. Not every unique item video is going to be a long one. This one doesn't really have a lot going for it. So, I mean, it's a quickie. As always, hit that like button and subscribe button if you enjoy the content, and keep watching.